Have you noticed there happens to be a lot of hype around vibes these days? And from the data that I've analyzed, they seem to be mythical waves transmitted through the air, which carry everything a person needs to know about the other person in their presence. That is, if they have adequate and accurate vibe detectors, which is a whole nother topic. The real question here is, where do these vibes come from? And how can we harness their power for health and longevity rather than, well, transmitting to someone if you're a dog or cat person? I swear, I can tell every time. Anyone else? No? Just me. Yo! What is up? Welcome back to another week of How to Health. My name is Kevin. I run liftandbalance.com, where we take aim at all things health and longevity and do it in an odd, weird, interesting, and highly sarcastic manner. Today, we are focusing our attention on the aforementioned vibes on the inside and exploring if our level of internal overall optimism can actually improve our present-day health and even extend our longevity. Because I'm not gonna lie, the evidence that I've reviewed has me thinking that the Beach Boys were way before their time when they released the banger Good Vibrations in 1966. Good vibrations. What? Just saying. Marky Mark, where you at? Good song too. A lot of good vibes. Let's keep them rolling. So we'll start with a quick background on our brain's psychologically driven health modulating powers, then look into the data, including some new research on the topic, discuss a common trap that you want to avoid at all costs, and finally finish up with some tips to get your internal vibes, well, vibing again. Because we all know good vibes are contagious, but so are bad ones. So let's keep those to a minimum. First, our brain's longevity powers. Here's the deal. The 5-pound mushy membrane, which sits inside our cranial cabinets, is quite powerful. As you've probably experienced, but never actually observed, a mere thought alone has the power to propagate down through the figurative layers of the brain and alter our entire physiological and biochemical state in a matter of seconds. Yes, that's right, a mere thought. And you're probably asking the only logical question at this point, how? Well, when we see a series of thoughts propagate in our head that are associated with a negative or emotionally triggering context, we activate a downstream stress response that essentially has our body acting in the same way that it would to a physical threat, stimulating both the limbic system, which is responsible for regulating emotions, and the primal brain stem, which is responsible for autonomic functions. Not cool. I know. Negative internal vibes, all from thinking. Nothing else, just thinking. But unfortunately, there's more. This flurry of biochemical signaling upregulates the hormones of stress, begins to constrict blood vessels, increases heart rate, blood pressure, breathing, and core body temperature, while also driving a sharp rise in immune system activity. Once again, no immediate danger, just a thought. And as a byproduct of all this, we've entered a fight or flight sympathetic nervous system state for no good reason. Imagine this happening each and every day. Being pre-programmed to see the glass half empty and having your physiological, cellular, and metabolic health in a constant state of low-dose stress. And imagine the damage this can inflict over time. Moral of the story, our 5-pound mushy membrane is powerful. Thus, the way we think, the mental frameworks that we build, and the habits and systems that we deploy to keep us balanced in this chaotic world are critical. Because just as bad internal vibes can bring us down, good ones may just be able to do the opposite. But let's look at some data on that, just to be sure. The data on good longevity vibes. I gotta say, Something that has been clear over the past few years of our longevity deep dives is the under-the-radar impact on social connectiveness on one's vitality. This is a component of longevity that has been on display in some of the longest lived areas of the world, coined as blue zones, where people live extraordinary long and extraordinary healthy. And believe it or not, social interaction is actually hardwired into our biology. Because quite frankly, it was key for our survival up until this point. We needed the group, the community, a tribe in order to get where we are today. And this has become more and more evident in the scientific literature, with clear associations between social isolation and the diseases of mental health and even neurodegeneration. Now, it needs to be said that these connections can also be a double-edged sword. For example, toxic social connections can very well cause more harm. But the opposite, being part of the good vibe tribe and raising that internal vibe, has been shown to be pretty interesting as it pertains to predicting one's longevity. Let's see how. First, a 2019 study found that men and women with highest levels of optimism had an average 11 to 15% longer lifespan than people who practice very little positive thinking. In fact, the highest scoring optimists were most likely to live to age 85 and beyond. Take it away, Buzz.
To infinity and beyond!
Buzz knows. And all this was found after controlling for things such as socioeconomic status, health conditions, depression, and health behaviors. And believe it or not, this wasn't the first study to find a link between longevity and looking on the bright side of life. Previous research has reported that more optimistic individuals were less likely to suffer from chronic disease and even die prematurely. How, you ask? Well, simply put, optimists seem to do healthier things, as this data has found a direct link between optimism and healthier diet, exercise behaviors, better cardiac health, a stronger immune system, better lung function, and overall lower mortality risk. I would also bet a pretty penny that all that avoided stress plays a major role here too. This brings us to the new data out of Harvard, which just hit the longevity wire, suggesting once again that there is a link between the two that cannot be ignored. For this study, researchers analyzed data and survey responses from nearly 160,000 participants in the Women's Health Initiative. These women were enrolled between ages 50 and 79 and were followed up with for up to 26 years. All in all, they found that the 25% who were most optimistic were likely to have a 5.4% increase in lifespan and a 10% greater likelihood of living beyond 90 compared to the 25% of participants who were least optimistic. And importantly, this was consistent across all races and ethnicities. Pretty interesting, right? And putting the healthy cherry on top, when they controlled for other lifestyle factors such as exercise and healthy eating, they found that it accounted for less than a quarter of the optimism lifespan association, indicating that other factors, like good vibes, may be at play. And I kind of think about this as a nice little self-made longevity cocktail. You mix in a positive mindset, the magical powers of a healthy lifestyle, and see the cloud of alleviated stress evaporate right on off. And if you drink it daily, poof, you're probably going to be in a pretty good place, here and now, and in the future. That is, if you can remember this next critical point. Good vibes are important, but there are a few things you need to do to support them. Truly believing and taking action. Listen, it's easy to say that after watching this video, you're gonna flip some sort of switch and become a more optimistic person. But in reality, to make this happen, you gotta do the work. You gotta set up these systems and frameworks that keep you on track without depleting your cognitive stores each and every day. A topic that we cover exclusively in this motivation and discipline video here. You can't just say you're different, you need to truly believe and then take action to reinforce it. Because when you believe, you change your biochemistry. Just look at all the examples of the placebo effect in action. It is truly extraordinary what happens when we believe. And the sad example that I've seen so many times in my life is the surprise diagnosis, followed by the new lifestyle narrative, but little to no action to actually back it up. It's just so tough to be reactive with our health and be successful. That's why we always vibe out on the philosophies of start now and start early. Prevention is always easier than reversal. And today is the perfect day to start owning your health. So what are some ways that we can do just that? Ways to practice good vibes. For this, let's start with a little thought experiment. Would you consider yourself someone who looks at a glass, half of it occupied by water, and say, nice, I have some water to drink? Or, damn, I gotta go fill this up. In other words, are you seeing what you have or what you don't? And what makes this difficult is, just like in life, it always kind of depends. It's always about the context. If you just finished a workout, you'd probably think of it differently than if you were just sitting down for lunch. The facts of the matter are, it's a war zone out there. Or a nice, breezy day at the beach. It's all about how you practice framing it. It's a mindset, and the work can begin when you've identified your default view. Now, there's a good chance that you have some sort of grip on whether you're more of an optimist or pessimist. But if you don't, one way to do a little self-exploration is by spending some time each day being an observer of your thoughts. One of my personal favorite ways to work on this is by leveraging a meditation practice. Take a few minutes, 1, 2, 5, 10, whatever you can spare without going crazy, and sit still. Don't think, just observe. Watch your thoughts enter and leave while focusing on taking deep belly breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. A practice like this has been shown to be beneficial on so many levels, but in this context, it helps you baseline your mind, giving you a starting point to help you determine what must be done, what action must be taken to join the Good Vibe tribe. I find that repeating a few key Stoic principles towards the end of my meditation to be helpful here as well. My go-tos being control what you can control and do what you can with what you got, which are two realistic ways of thinking that leave you captaining your own ship, giving you the ability to steer, hopefully around those choppy waters, mitigating negative thoughts before they propagate downwards and turn into a Cat 5 cellular and metabolic storm. And next time you catch yourself thinking negatively or stressing out, try this. Ask yourself if you'll even remember the thing you're stressing about a week from now, a month, a year, and beyond. There's a high likelihood of a probable no. So is it worth getting all worked up about now? A positive mindset is like a muscle. You gotta exercise it. And there's actually a lot of different techniques that you can explore. From more structured, like the best possible self method, where you imagine yourself in the future where you've achieved all of your life goals and all of your problems are resolved, to simple things like journaling about what you're grateful for. A simple example being just waking up and your loved ones waking up too. And if you want to get a little more tactical, there are some ways to force the issue a little more as well. For example, in a number of videos on this channel, we talk about hacking our biology with good stressors, interventions that alleviate the bad stress and alter our biochemistry to feel better, more content, and more optimistic. Things like exercise, sunlight, good mood, real whole food, the aforementioned meditation and mindfulness, time in nature, consistent high-quality sleep, and simple things like a breathing practice can all move the needle here. I also do a few more subtle things like having the title of my morning alarm on my cell phone be optimism, closing my morning meditation saying it's a great day to have a damn day, and trying to text an old friend I haven't talked to in a while once a week just to say hi and wish them well. These are just some things to noodle on. And with all that being said, we can't disregard the negative vibes out there. Creating distance from them can also go a long way as well. Some examples of this include limiting or eliminating things like the news, certain social media platforms or feeds, toxic relationships or people in general, and even your work situation. Because as we know, environment is a huge modulator of health and longevity. So try to make yours as friendly and positive by default as possible. control what you can control. And if you want a little extra help with this, you can join our longevity challenges in Patreon, where we as a group implement longevity-focused sustainable change, habit by habit, week by week, focusing on getting healthy from the inside out. If you're interested, all of the links will be in the description below. You gotta remember that change does not happen overnight. It happens over many nights. So be patient and be kind to yourself along the way. Your self-talk is one of the most powerful health tools that you have. So use it for good, not suffering. The reality is, whether you like it or not, the person that's gonna be in your ear more than anyone else is you. So be the coach that you deserve and hype yourself up already. There you go. I can feel those vibes coming from the screen. What was that? Those are just EMFs, not good vibes from the tribe. Damn. Someone hand me the tinfoil hat. Come on. They were the good vibes. I know it.